Well, what I love about it is like these teams that aren't in the Power 25, like you very well may have a beef. And good. Like go prove us that we're wrong. Like that's what it's all about. Like this is just, an indicator of who we think the best teams are, but we get it. We're gonna miss on some teams and like there are gonna be some teams that have great wins and prove to us like, man, we're pretty good and we belong to be in there. And as you do that, like you'll get rewarded. Sometimes we may be a week too late on, putting you in, but just keep winning. Because like outside the Power 25, I mean, there's a ton of teams that I think could have legitimate beefs on being in. I don't know how we want to go about talking about these, but just like some that I had that jump off the page is Normal U High. I saw them play live. Like I think I didn't get the best look against like the competition that they played. There were a ton of free passes that they were rewarded, and maybe that was their doing. Having great at bats and earning walks, and there were a lot of hit by pitches, and they just had like two massive wins. And then they also just had a win over East Peoria, which really stands out to me. I think East Peoria is a really strong club. So Normal U High is like right there knocking at the door for me. They were talked about this week. Geneva is another one, 10-1-1. I really like Geneva. We some of their just prospects, when you talk about prospects that they have, I think are really strong. They're going to be a team like we need to go see as well and get an eye test on them, get them in a good matchup. Lions Township, I mean, we've talked about them. They have Jack Slidham, they've got Blake Ragsdale, they've got Lou Ratcliffe, they've got Tommy Georgilis, they've got a lot of guys that I think warrant being in that discussion. I think they had a tough loss yesterday getting into conference play against OPRF, who we do have in the Power 25, but that's just one game of a series, so we'll see what comes of that. Tremont is a smaller school. Yeah, I didn't realize they're 1A. So when we talk like 1A teams to watch, I think in the preseason, like that was a team like hand up I missed on because I definitely would have had them in my mix for either my 1A pick. I mean, I did have the first pick and I took Marquette, which I don't think would have changed. But as far as that like sleeper pick that we got, like I think they would have been high on my list. They're off to an 8-1 start, and they've got a lot of seniors and led by Chase Rhodes, Griffin Meeker, like a lot of guys to like over there at Tremont. So just some schools I wanted to throw out there, and I'll give you guys the mic here on any that you like.
Well, Joliet West has to be brought up, right? They won the WJOL. They're 6-2-1 on the year, and they've beaten some really good teams, like Lockport being one of them. That's a tough one, right? Like they beat some really good teams. Like, do they get in right now? Or are they knocking on the door? And we opted to leave them on the bubble right now, but a team we're for sure looking at. Like we're on them. We're gonna keep a close eye on them.
It's a great call. And just talking about that WJOL tournament, like it takes a lot of wins to get through that thing. They played a marathon game against Lockport to win the championship. Looked like a thrilling win. And that does factor in. And I think we rewarded Lockport for their run. And I think their road, they beat a few more like Power 25 high profile teams than Joliet West. But either way, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Pete. Like Joliet West deserves a shout out for sure.
Yeah, but a couple teams that I wanted to touch on, Monticello off to a 10-0 start. They've been a team the past few years that have had a true ace, and Luke Teschke, who's now at ISU, Ike Young last year, who's at Illinois now. Then they've got Matthias Rudolph this year. He's a 2026 uncommitted left-handed arm. So, I mean, they just continue to win over the past few years, and I think they will be a team to kind of go see. I have not seen them yet, so I don't have a ton on them with the eye test yet. But Glenwood, they're off to a 6-2 start, and then they beat Sacred Heart Griffin last week, 9-7. Kind of a rivalry game there for those two teams in the Springfield area. Metamora, they started off 8-0, but I believe they lost yesterday. And then a team that I have seen, Teutopolis, I kind of mentioned them here, but they're 6-1. They beat Muhammad Seymour, who was has been a bubble team so far. They're off to a good start as well, but Teutopolis won 5-0 over Muhammad. I mean, they've got guys like Davin Warman on the mound, Austin Bories, Caleb Detters, Gavin Addis, Aiden Niemberg, I believe. But a lot of arms that are like mid-80s, upper 80s that I think at that 2A level are going to be pretty dangerous, especially having that much depth. And they're not just guys that like have velo. They actually compete and are very competitive arms. So I think they're going to be a really good team here the rest of the year.
That was a crazy amount of depth that you mentioned, especially like Davin Warman's an upper 80s lefty that can pitch. And then you have these righties to go along with them. A couple other schools that I know are on my radar kind of watching is Bennett. Like they made it to 3A state last year. They're off to a pretty strong start. Waterloo, team down in Southern Illinois that we're kind of keeping our eye on. Newman Central Catholic as well. Talking about teams when we were picking in the preseason, like they very easily could have been a 2A squad that got chosen. They've been to state a bunch of times in the last few years. So I don't think anybody picked them there. And if I'm wrong, please correct me, Gav. But pretty sure Newman Central went without getting picked. And that's the fun of this is getting out, seeing these teams. Like we've now eye tested almost all these teams in the Power 25, where we saw them play in person, and there's only going to be more to come. And I can't wait for the conference matchups where you get the ones versus the ones, the twos versus the twos, or however it matches up, and you get some real deal feel for these teams.